You're not being taken advantage of because you're too nice. You're being taken advantage of because you taught people where your line wasn't. Every time someone took more than they gave and you stayed available, you sent a message. Every time your needs came second and you didn't close access, you reinforced the terms. Every time their actions showed you who they were and you stayed accommodating, you confirmed the arrangement. You thought you were being kind, patient, understanding, but what you were actually doing was training people on how much they could take without consequence. This isn't about boundaries you failed to set. This is about authority you gave away by staying accessible after respect left. And once you see that, you stop being available to dynamics that cost you. Being taken advantage of doesn't start with someone being malicious. It starts with access. Someone tests the edge. They take a little more. You don't respond, so they take a little more again. That's the moment the dynamic forms, not because they crossed the line, but because the line stayed open. And when access stays open without consequence, people assume permission. Negotiable access isn't generosity, it's exposure. And exposure without authority is how exploitation begins. Being taken advantage of isn't bad luck. It's what happens when access stays open after respect leaves. Think of it like this. Your time, energy, and effort are a building. Some people enter because there's reciprocity. They contribute, they respect the space, they leave when the visit is over. Others walk in and never leave. They take what they need, they don't contribute back, they treat your space like it belongs to them. And the critical part isn't that they stayed, it's that the door stayed open. Not because you wanted them there, but because you didn't realize you were allowed to close it. So the requests kept coming. At work, with family, with friends. Help once, then again, then again. And instead of closing access, you minimized what you were seeing. You softened the pattern. You explained it away. That wasn't an understanding. That was permission. This isn't about weakness. It's about visibility. Being taken advantage of works like a one-way mirror. They can see you clearly, your effort, your availability, your consistency, but you never get the same access back. You show up, they benefit, and the exchange never balances. Not because they don't notice, but because they don't need to. Cost flows in one direction, and when cost flows one way long enough, people stop questioning it. They rely on it. Here's the part most people miss. Your availability does labor in the relationship. It keeps things running without requiring effort from the other side. The coworker who only reaches out when they need help benefits. The family member who disappears unless they need support benefits. The friend who only calls in crisis benefits. The partner who never matches your effort benefits. Not because they're forcing you, but because you're consistently there. You don't have to be demanded. You volunteer. And as long as you keep volunteering, nothing has to change. Because the arrangement works, just not for you. This is where authority is leaked. Not when they asked, but when access stayed open afterwards. You didn't just help once. You stayed available after reciprocity never came. You didn't just overlook imbalance. You adjusted yourself to keep the dynamic smooth. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You stayed accessible to people unavailable to you. You explained behavior that didn't align. You gave extra chances after clarity already showed up. That wasn't patience. That was signaling that access didn't require balance. And people who take advantage don't correct that signal. They use it. Drop a black heart emoji in the comments down below if this clicked. Not everyone does this to you. just specific people and specific dynamics. That's not coincidence. That's where access stay open too long. Let me tell you what happens next. The moment access is denied, they try to push you back into the role. They guilt trip you. They suggest you've changed. Not because boundaries are wrong, but because the door is closed. That reaction isn't a misunderstanding. It's loss of access. And recognizing that is how you keep authority intact. When someone shows a pattern of not reciprocating, explaining better won't stop them from taking advantage of you. If you want it to stop, access has to close. This is the shift. Before, you were always available. Now, you become unavailable. You don't explain, you don't justify, you don't negotiate. Because authority doesn't argue. It closes the gate and puts a lock on it. And closed access is the only thing that stops extraction. So understand this. Being taken advantage of was never about you being too nice. It was about staying accessible after mutuality never arrived. You weren't naive. You were hoping effort would eventually be matched. But people who take advantage, they don't wait to change because they benefit from the imbalance. Closing access may feel harsh to them. Let it. Self-authorization is the end game. Now you decide. You can stay available to one-sided dynamics and keep calling it kindness, or you can close access and reclaim your authority. One drains you, the other restores you. This channel isn't about being nicer. It's about recognizing when availability became exploitation and choosing to close that door. If you're done being taken advantage of, subscribe. This is where authority gets reclaimed without apology.